In today's lecture, we will be discussing about process control hierarchy. First, let us see what is process control. It is a complete tool package that keep operations of a plant running within the specified limits while maintaining the product requirements satisfying various constraints. These constraints are mainly given by the government. Now, what is the main task? It is to design and manipulate the inputs to the process to take the process output to a desired value. That is the main task of a process control. Manipulating input or designing the input to the process. So as we have seen, process industry is very big. We have to approach process control in a divide and conquer way. Now, what is the need of process control? To satisfy the output specifications, the output will be having some market relevance. The output need to satisfy that particular specifications like composition. Then operational constraints, safety and environmental regulations. Then to satisfy technical, economic and social conditions. Objectives. So you can see mainly three objectives. These objectives are arranged according to its priority. First is safety. Safety of the equipments, of the labor, of the surroundings, of the plant. Quality. The output from the plant is going to the market or it will be going to some other process. So the quality need to be maintained throughout the operation with minimum variation. Then comes optimization with respect to profit, maximizing the profit and minimizing the cost. How? As you have seen, process control is all about designing the input to the process such that the inputs makes the output in the desired fashion. Now let us see the objectives one by one. The first one, as we have seen, safety. There is a probability of undesirable and uncontrollable process behavior and it need to be maintained in the acceptable level even when there is some equipment faults and failures. In an industry, there are many mechanical and electrical equipments. They are prone to failures. So it is very important that if any one, say sensor or actuator failed, it should not result in a complete chaos. So it is the main condition with respect to safety. So even in the case of some equipment failure, your package, your process control system or process control package should be capable to maintain the operation within the safe limits. Then comes the quality. So every plant is having some product to sell in the market. So as we have seen, the plant can be divided into multiple processes. So output of one process will be going to another process or more than one process. So it's very important that the output from each process or the altogether output from the plant need to sustain the quality throughout the operation. If it is varying, if the quality is varying, then it is very difficult to find a market or process to process the operation will be very, very difficult. Yeah, even though all the industries are run by business people to make profit, the process control objectives, you can find that the profit will be having the third priority only after safety and quality. So what does it mean? We have to look for profit after satisfying safety and quality. And how to make the profit? By optimization of our resources. So process control is not a easy task. It is associated with many challenges. So what are the challenges? Let us see in a brief. So the chemical industry or chemical plant is very big, and it will be usually having thousands or hundreds of measurement and actuators. So definitely associated control loops will be also there. Then we have to optimize. When we talk about optimization and profit, it's an optimization between total cost, speed of production at minimum disturbance. So these three are usually conflicting. When we try to reduce the total cost, the speed of production will also come down in most of the case. When you try to speed up the production, there will be many disturbances which will inversely affect the production. Another important thing with respect to control is that when we slightly change one input variable, it can have larger impact on more than one output variable or end products. So a slight change in the raw material or operating condition can affect the output in a considerable fashion. That is very important. That is very much challenging. Then comes again to the control part. So as we have discussed, process control is all about manipulating the input. So this is a precise, demanding and potentially hazardous activity. So great care is required while we do this manipulation, manipulating the input. So what are the main tasks in the overall plant-wide process control? So the main task we can categorically say it as the design of the input to the process such that this input acting on the process will take the outputs to the desired value. That is the main task. For the main task, we have to do many before the main task there are many multiple tasks required or many multiple steps are required. The first one is selection of the manipulator variables among various process inputs. So all process inputs will not be manipulated at the same time. Some of them are only manipulated. So the selection is very important. Then selection of control variables. So as we know, say in a chemical industry, sometimes the concentration of the output is very important. Maybe the level may not be an important factor. The flow may not be an important factor. Temperature may not be an important factor. So we have to identify among the various possible outputs, process outputs, which are the important variables which is having some market relevance or with respect to some stability conditions which is having some relevance. Those need to be definitely selected as control variables because we have to maintain the quality within the specified range. We need to maintain the safety conditions within the specified range. Then coming to the selection of extra measurements. As I have told, some of the output variables will be definitely control variables, but there will be a problem. Say for example, concentration as you consider. So the measurement of concentration is a slow process. So most of the cases it is done offline. The samples will be taken out and it will be taken to the labs and it will take some 15 to 30 minutes or more for getting the result. So during this 15 to 30 minutes, the plant is running. Okay, you have to imagine. So the output is produced. If by any chance the output is not according to our desired value, what is going to happen? Yes, the output will be wasted. So it will be a huge loss of revenue. So what people will do in such conditions, they will go for inferential measurements. Say for example, in the case of a distillation column, the output concentration is very important, but output concentration, as I have mentioned, it will take some time. So what we will do, we will measure, we will identify some points in the distillation column where the temperature will be measured, say at three different points, and we can find mathematically some relation between this temperature, three temperature, and the concentration. Okay, this is a mathematical identification part, we can say. So the measurement of temperature will be easy. So from three or four measurements, we can infer the concentration that is coming out. So that will be a faster way of attending any error in the concentration. Now, other three important tasks are selection of control configuration structure. Okay, how the controller will be aligned, or in other sense, I can say that which input will be manipulated to control which output. We will see that in the next class. Then selection of appropriate control algorithms. Okay, this will be usually a mathematical function. There can be different mathematical functions. For example, it can be an on-off algorithm, proportional control, PI control, PID control, model predictive control. So the selection, depending upon various conditions, one may not be a good choice. We have to find the optimal control algorithm. Then once you find the control algorithm, we have to tune the parameters. Okay, the controller algorithm will be having some parameters which can be varied such that the performance will be adjusted, readjusted. So that tuning is also a task in plant-wide process control. So these are the six tasks, main six tasks. So as I have told, the main objectives will be safety, quality, and optimization in process control. So when we approach these objectives, it is not an easy task. So what we will do is we will decompose the original objectives and tasks that we have mentioned earlier, and we will approach in a divide and conquer way. So process control is having a well organized hierarchy, which is a sequence of simpler, technically well defined structured subtasks. So each of these objectives, we can find that it will be handled by one dedicated controller. What are the advantages? One of the main advantages is it will improve the reliability and ease of monitoring and maintenance. So coming to the process control hierarchy, so this is the arrangement of functional multi-layer process control hierarchy. So in the bottom, definitely there should be the process. Okay, the process, as we have already seen, will be in relation with other process or the environment through the inputs and the outputs. Okay, there can be measurement. Okay, measurement will be using sensors, and how the input will be varied? Input will be varied using some actuators. Okay, some of the example of sensors are temperature sensors, humidity sensors, pH sensors. And for actuators, you can see valves, fan, blowers, heaters. Okay, these are some kinds of actuators. So, in the process control hierarchy, The lowest layer, okay, it is occupied by the measurement and actuation equipments, and the processing speed usually should be very fast. It should be less than 1 second. Okay, then, as I have told, what are the objectives in process control? The first one is safety, second one is quality, third one is profit. We can see that the second, third, and fourth layer, okay, this is all about safety, quality, and profit. So the second layer, it takes care about the alarm management and emergency shutdown. Usually this second layer, it is acting or constructed separate from the remaining layers, because in this is part of normal operation. Okay, the quality and profit, they are part of normal operation. If there is any abnormal condition we required the safety shutdown, so we call it as safety interlocks, and this is mainly taken care by PLCs. PLCs are programmable logic controllers. So what are the why we are using PLC for this emergency shutdown purpose? First of all, PLC is a very robust electrical device. It is not requiring any control room kind of setup to initiate or to install. So it will be very close to the process. So the communication time will be very less. And usually we will employ digital logic here. Okay, either 0 or 1 logic. So in the case of safety conditions, what do we want? If the, say for example, if the tank is going to overflow, the best thing we can do is completely open some valve, okay, or completely shut the inlet valve. There is no in between condition required. Either completely empty the tank using by opening some valves, or completely shut down the flow to the tank. So what we required is a digital logic, that means 0 or 1 kind of condition. So PLC usually have such kind of logic. Okay, even exceptions are there, but in usually they are having such kind of logic. Now then comes, as I have told, the objective of quality. Okay, these are taken care by the regulatory control layer as well as the multivariable and constraint control layer. Okay, so in regulatory control layer, the speed of response is in the range of seconds to minutes. But you have to note here that in the case of emergency shutdown or safety environment and equipment protection layer, the processing speed or the speed of operation is very less. It's almost in line with the measurement and actuation layer. So it is very fast. When we come to the quality side or the normal operation side, it happens in seconds to minutes or minutes to hour range, depending upon the speed of the process. So after this, we are having optimization layer, okay, real-time optimization layer, which will take care about the profit part of that particular industry. It will give clear-cut instruction to the lower layers how to improve profit. Fine. And at the end, last, in the global way, we can see in the global way, say one business group will be having multiple industries set up at different parts of the world. They will acquire data from various sources. They will predict what will be the future. Depending upon that, they will give instruction to individual plants. Say for example, if market demand in one part is higher, you have to improve the production at that part. Say if the raw material cost is coming down in one section, one part, definitely there is a possibility to increase the production at that particular period of time. We will see all these different layers in detail. First one, the field level, okay, which is taken care of by the measurement and actuation part. So as you have seen, this is the lowest actuation hierarchy level, and we can say that this is the arms and eyes of an automated industrial process. Eyes here stands for the sensors, and arms here stands for the actuators, which is doing the real work. So the time scale is very less. Okay, usually it will be less than 1 second. Okay, and measurement device measure, as we know, process variables and have a core task of transferring machines and process data to the next level for monitoring and analysis. And with respect to the actuation equipment, they implements the calculated control actions. Okay, both of them are doing almost opposite actions. Then comes the safety level. The first and most important objective is safety that we have seen. So this is given here also, it is given the maximum, it is objective, okay, importance. So as I have mentioned, the PLC, programmable logic controllers, are mainly used here. Why? Because they are very rugged electronics and they are designed to operate reliably in conditions that may expose them to vibration, environmental challenges, and electrical noise. So other controllers, they need very good environment to work. But PLCs are specially crafted such that they can withstand all these adverse conditions. And we know safety should be always, it should be in an alert condition. So the time scale is also very less. Then comes the regulatory control layer, which is also known as direct control layer or basic control layer. This regulatory control layer is actually in parallel to the safety layer. Okay, we cannot say that it is just above the safety layer, it is parallel. So this regulatory control layer is also having direct access to the process through the manipulator variables. You have to visualize it like that. So what it does, it will ensure that the control variables, okay, the variables which are having some market relevance usually are maintained at the desired value or the set point from the control point of view. And in usual practice, we will treat this regulatory control in a single input, single output manner. Okay, as I have previously told, the approach is divide and conquer. So a multi-input, multi-output system will be divided into various single input, single output, and we will be at a time, we will be treating one single input, single output system with one controller. And usually the control algorithm will be some fashions of PID control algorithm. So time scale will be little slower, so something around seconds to minutes. So if you just look, if you are having the level 1, that is a measurement and actuator level, level 2, that is a safety level, and level 3, that is the regulatory control layer, a normal plant can run. But the higher levels 4 and 5 are required if you want to run the plant at profit. Okay, now we are taking care about the safety and the quality. So if profit improvisation or profit optimization is also a important factor, definitely you require the higher levels. and profit. Definitely, if you are only having level 1, 2 and 3, you will be calculating the set points offline, and you will be feeding the set points offline to the regulatory control layer. It is not the case when we are having layer 4 and 5. So just a revisit to our hierarchy. Okay, we can see the regulatory control layer is here. Okay, the higher layer, what are the higher levels? Then constraint control level is there, real-time optimization level is there, then the planning and scheduling level is also there. So going to the supervisory or constraint control layer, it comes just above the regulatory control layer, and this is important such that it provides the intervention and control of functions such as set point for the direct control layer. That is the main task. Okay, by set point of direct control layer, in linguistic terms, I can explain it as setting of production target, supervising different parameters like temperature, pressure. Then usually there will be SCADA, supervisory control and data acquisition part, setting machine start and stop periods, then the human machine interface, okay, where human will give the data to the machine. Usually the constraint control layer, the control strategy is, in modern day plants, they are a strategy called model predictive control, and this is done in a MIMO fashion, multi-input multi-output fashion. This control logic, that is model predictive control, is having the capability to handle constraints, which is not the case in PID. Then comes the real-time optimization layer, which we call it as RTO layer. The main objectives are to determine the optimum controller set points for current operating conditions and constraints. And here the main goal is to ensure effective execution of plant operation and improve production output. So they employ MES, that is manufacturing execution system, and the time scale is very delayed version of previous layers, hours, in the range of hours to days. So the last layer, which is the planning and scheduling layer, which is commonly known as enterprise resource planning layer. Okay, this is the top industrial automation hierarchy level that is tasked with the management of entire industrial automation system. So this level is geared towards supporting commercial industrial activities as opposed to technical industrial aspects. So we can see that as we move up the layer, it focuses mainly on the business rather than on the technical side. They use the market and customer analysis, sales data, orders, and does the production planning. The time scales, okay, the updation usually happens in weeks and months period of time. So the functional multi-layer process control hierarchy in the working way, okay, I am just separating the safety layer from the remaining layer, because I have already told that the safety layer is working independent to the remaining layers. So we can see that there will be sensors. Sensors will be giving data to the regulatory control layer, supervisory control layer, sometimes to the plant-wide optimization or real-time optimization layer, or the final layer, worldwide optimization layer. Okay, so the worldwide optimization layer will give goals. Plant-wide optimization layer will give set points to the supervisory control. Here supervisory control stands for that constraint control part. So these two take care about the quality. Okay, so product quality is fed back to the higher layer. Now supervisory control layer will consider various constraints, and it will reformulate the set point. Here it is in a multi-input, multi-output fashion or multi-variable fashion. It will divide it into hundreds of single input, single output controllers or single input, single output strategy, and hundreds of set points will be given to different controllers for maintaining the variable of the process. Now, what is most important? If you just see the process control hierarchy, one thing is very important: the communication. Communication from the process to different hierarchies as well as between the hierarchies. Then we can see that the information get aggregated as it moves from a low level to high level. It is getting aggregated. So communication, as you see the importance of communication, I just want to mention that to a next level, Industry 4.0. Okay, people are talking about Industrial 4.0, a new industrial revolution. The foundation of Industrial 4.0 is high connectivity and powerful communication capacity. Then, what are the main hierarchy level in Industry 4.0? You can find that it is also having similar layers. Okay, thank you.